legislation targeting harassment of Jewish students at higher education institutions may reach the U.S. House floor soon, intensifying the broader crackdown on anti-Semitism by the Trump administration. Joining me to dig into this is reporter for the Center Square, Therese Boudreau. Therese, what are the bills before Congress right now?
So the two bills before Congress are the Antisemitism Awareness Act and the Protecting Students on Campus Act. The Protecting Students on Campus Act basically makes it more streamlined, makes it easier for students who have experienced harassment or anti-Semitism to file civil rights complaints. So that one there's not that much controversy surrounding it. The second one, the Antisemitism Awareness Act, actually has garnered some controversy because what it does is it clarifies the definition of anti-Semitism for use in campus investigations, civil rights investigations into harassment against Jewish students. And it uses the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition. Now, that definition reads, anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community, institutions, and religious facilities. So it's pretty straightforward, but what a lot of Democratic lawmakers and some Republican lawmakers were concerned about as well is that it could hamper free speech. It's a very contentious topic that Israel-Palestine, it's a very contentious topic, the Israel-Hamas war. And the Trump administration is taking steps to really crack down on anti-Semitism, but then there are concerns that maybe the administration might be going too far. So there's a lot of back and forth about that.
And where is the legislation at in the process now? I know they were going to vote on it in the Senate yesterday. Where is it now?
So the Antisemitism Awareness Act, because of the controversy that I just mentioned, it was supposed to be voted on in committee yesterday, and it was actually postponed because, again, there were just a lot of concerns brought up, and there are a lot of amendments that Democrats wanted to add and some that were adopted that basically protected certain speech. Students are allowed to protest against what they see as devastation in Gaza or things like that. So it's like a 2-hour long hearing. And they eventually there was some action with amendments, but they didn't come to a final vote because there were 12 Republicans and 11 Democrats on the committee that was considering it. And so if only one Republican joined Democrats, then the bill just wouldn't have passed. So Senator Bill Cassidy, a Republican, he just postponed the vote. So that's where we're at right now with that. There hasn't been a date scheduled yet for taking that up again. But we'll see. It would definitely be it could have a lot of impact on college campuses and how, when, or if protests are carried out in the future.
And this has been kind of part of a broader movement. What other steps have been taken by the administration or in Congress to try and address anti-Semitism? So
there have been a lot of far more invasive steps, actually, I would say, than this. There are a lot of like Columbia University, Harvard, a lot of other highbrow institutions saw a lot of sometimes violent protests this past summer and even continuing. And so once the Trump administration came into office, they started, for instance, Harvard University, they said that if you don't sign this document saying that you are going to take X, Y, and Z steps to crack down on anti-Semitism and do this and, make sure this doesn't happen, then we're going to pull federal funding from you. So Harvard didn't like that, and Harvard is now currently engaged in a lawsuit with the Trump administration because of that, which the Center Square also reported on. And there's also the IRS is looking into Harvard's tax-exempt status, and there's conversations about the tax-exempt status of universities that receive federal funding in general. So there's a lot of things going on to just put pressure on these schools, a lot of financial pressure, a lot of rhetorical pressure, and in this case now legislative pressure to make sure that these protests, which have oftentimes targeted Jewish students, have been violent, have just been very anti-Semitic, do not continue, and that the perpetrators are punished. Again, there's just concerns on both sides of the aisle. How do we do this in a way that threads the needle between student safety and free speech?
Well, Therese, thank you for your insights on this story. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.